Greetings, Force users of all ages, and welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast where we get to the guts of what makes Star Wars meaningful to us. As always, I'm Dino Nicandros. That's Alyssa Simmons.
Hi.
And that's Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
And we are outside the Tauntaun today for a very exciting episode. We are discussing the first Marvel Studios cinematic release in just about 2 years.
Crazy.
Beer, 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 beer.
This is Black Widow, directed by Kate Shortland, written by Eric Pearson, with a story by Jack Schaefer and Ned Benson. And by God, we are Marvel fans.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
It was so good to be in a theater.
Oh,
saw
it
a
certainly
movie
was.
in an actual theater.
A
With other
big,
people.
loud movie.
Yes,
With
a
other
full
people filled to the brim.
crowd.
Yeah.
We sat next to people we didn't know.
Yes.
And they were all pretty respectful, too, which was nice.
Yeah, there weren't any annoying people in our theater, which was good.
Yeah.
No, everybody was...
We were probably the most annoying people in the theater, to be honest.
And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
feel like
I
we were
dropped a
being-
few F-bombs.
We were...
Chassis definitely did.
Cassie was very loud.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
I love it so much.
That's my wife.
It's
Yep.
good. It's like, just to make sure we all know that everybody is being affected by the film,
But the theater was packed to the brim, and
It was.
on that note,
On that note,
the...
what about this
Jesus.
one? Or maybe a few of these.
I need to talk so much faster.
You do. You really do.
I cannot let
You
go.
can't
Lord.
leave any
I
spaces.
cannot leave any airspace.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So the box office numbers look really good
yeah,
for a post-pandemic movie. The first weekend it made $150 million
Oh,
worldwide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it like
Nine-
215, like including like Disney Plus and shit? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think Disney
Well-
Plus was like 60.
Well,
60
was
million.
60, and they had made 90 off of when last I checked. It's much higher now, probably.
Sure, but opening.
But this was through
opening
Sunday
weekend.
morning was 90 million from theaters and 60 from Disney Plus, which
Slay, bitch.
if you're Disney, you're like, that's a great
Hell
outcome.
yeah.
That
Hell
means
yeah.
people still went to the theaters, but they're also
Buying it at home.
utilizing
Yeah.
Disney Plus. So
All right, now hire us back. That
we
would be
still
great.
need jobs.
Oh God, I'm coughing. Everything's great. Yeah, right.
Help
Literally.
me, I'm poor.
Help me! I need money to see more movies.
So, let's get your initial reactions to Black Widow, and then we can dive in a bit more detail. What was the feeling for you guys after, with this being the first movie we've seen in a couple years, and obviously different from the Disney Plus experience?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the words of the Maharaja, generally I liked it.
Thank you, Maharaja.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked it too. I felt like it was fun. It was suspenseful. Great actors.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
this
Mhm.
cast, like,
I
we're-
think the
we're
cast
very-
really carried it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll talk more about that later, but I honestly feel like my favorite scenes in the film were with Alexi and Yelena.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were with Florence Pugh and
Just a couple of sisters.
and David Harbour. Yeah, and obviously Rachel Weisz is
Yes.
a national treasure. But yeah, I had so much fun, and just getting to be in a movie theater and eat popcorn and candy and watch a Marvel movie on the big screen was,
I will never take it for granted ever again.
yeah,
No.
it just felt so nice. And what was your initial reaction, Dino?
Well, I'll flip it to you, Daniel, since I
I mean, I more or less
posited the
just
question.
yeah. I
You
mean
said
that
generally I liked it.
generally I liked it. I mean, I mean as an overall thing, I really did. Yeah, like I'm kind of just reiterating what Alyssa said as far as I really do feel like the cast kind of carried the movie. I mean, there was some incredible action scenes. I mean, really, when you break down the plot, I mean, you could probably describe the plot in like almost 3 sentences, but like,
Sure.
but that's okay because you know it was watching this like secret agent like do her secret agent stuff, and it was like freaking dope. And yeah, generally I liked it.
Yeah,
I would probably give like, you know, honestly, if we're gonna go into like you know, grading it, I would probably agree with the Rotten Tomato score. Maybe give it a
About an
slightly
80.
higher.
Yeah.
Because I think right
Like
now
a
it's
B
sitting at
plus?
80. I'd probably give it like at least a solid B, not a B minus.
Mm.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say B plus for me.
B
personally.
plus.
For me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go like an 88, 89.
Very sensible.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
I'm generally in the same camp, but honestly, the longer I've sat with it and thought on it, the higher the rating gets. And usually when someone says that about a movie, like, you know, the more I think about it, you know, I did like it. I feel like we were saying that after Rise of Skywalker. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
We're
For
like,
sure.
I
generally
think I liked it.
speaking, when that's the critique, yikes.
Uh-huh.
That means you're a fan of whatever you're watching, but you are so morbidly disappointed.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
You're making it. You're like, it couldn't have been bad. It's not possible.
But do you
It's
feel
like,
like
yeah,
that?
I've
But
thought
do you
about
feel
it
like
more.
that's different for this case?
Yes, this is
Okay.
a genuine. The more I think about it, the more I really, really, really liked it.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that was bothering me to begin with, or actually as I was watching the movie, the thing that was bothering me was this is 5 years too late.
Yeah. And I
Which
think generally,
we knew we were gonna feel that way.
Yeah.
And this movie,
I already had that expectation going in, so it wasn't too
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
too
but
jarring.
it became jarring for me because the movie is good.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
she really
almost
deserved.
undone by the fact that the movie is like, God, you know, ScarJo can
ScarJo.
really friggin' act.
Yeah. She
And-
She
can.
can.
The first time she actually got to really take
Flex her
flight was
muscles.
Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and how unfortunate.
I know.
Yeah. What a bummer.
Truly.
Because she was acting her face off in this, and what a perfect pair she is with Florence Pugh and then the quartet with Rachel Weisz and David Harbour.
Yeah.
I mean,
their sister chemistry and the complexity of their background and
Yeah.
backstory and everything
Oh, it's beautiful.
was so awesome. And
Could
I
you
mean,
could
yeah,
you
I just loved it.
imagine the amount of weight that her death would have carried in Endgame had we had this film first? You know,
yes.
yeah.
it just
Yeah, and
it would have
and-
been more powerful. I mean, not saying that it wasn't powerful because it actually
Sure, 'cause
was.
it was.
It
yeah.
well,
was,
that's
truly,
why
but-
I'm kind of amazed. I'm both amazed and disappointed at the same time. Disappointed because this should have come out right after Civil War.
Yeah, nothing to do with the movies.
Um,
It's not the movies' problem. It's just the timing. Yeah.
Yeah, it should have come out right after Civil War, and we would still be talking about this movie.
Yeah, probably.
I had a friend say, he was like, I think Scarlett Johansson is the only person who could play herself from, you know, about 10 years ago, and none of us bat an eye.
About
We're just
yeah.
like,
or six,
What a
yeah,
bitch.
you,
without
look-
any
Yeah.
de-aging. I mean,
How dare.
she is so attractive.
she's beautiful.
Calm
Ah.
down.
No, but the amazing thing about it is that really fills in the gaps. It does what a lot of movies that attempt a similar thing, it does it so much better in that I can now go back and watch the original Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
and when Loki says,
Yeah.
talks about her being Dracov's daughter and the red
Mhm.
in her ledger, and it's like, yep, and now
Oh,
that's all
yeah.
filled in.
Mm-hmm.
But in such
Thank you
in
for your
such an emotionally
cooperation.
in such an emotionally satisfying way that it has now successfully given weight to Black Widow throughout all of her.
Yeah, she's really
movies.
fat now. You've
Yes.
given her a lot of weight.
Impossible for her.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
So I think it succeeded in, albeit too late for my taste, but it does give her the proper eulogy I think she deserves.
Yeah. Yeah, her last moments in the film. I mean, and even her last moments, like not even on camera, but I guess you could say that her tombstone was on camera. that was very, very touching.
Well,
and
but
sweet.
her last moment, which takes place kind of right before Infinity War,
yeah,
where she's changed into her blonde haircut and
her vest.
she kind of turns profile and gives this smile, and it's like you just don't see her smile a whole lot, and she has good reason not to.
It did feel kind of like a wink.
It was kind
and
of
a
like
nod to the camera, like
it's
bye
been,
audience.
It's been good.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, she's had several interviews where she's talked about how saying goodbye to Natasha and saying goodbye to this character is. She knew it was going to be emotional and hard, but
say goodbye to the freak show. That was a deep dive. Sorry.
It really was.
Yeah.
And with good reason. This has been a huge several chapters in her life. So to finally
so many films.
Yeah, I think for this movie to kind of like bookend her MCU time, that even though we obviously all agree that it should have come after Civil War, that would have been great. But she got like an actual proper like goodbye to this character that she's been able to be.
Well, it's
so
interesting
long.
that we talk about this because I do have several questions for you later if we're going to break some things down. But I have
We're
questions
not. This
about
is
that.
actually the end of the conversation.
Oh, wow, what a great time we
now.
had this 11 minutes.
We just said, what were your first reactions? And that's all.
And that's it.
That's it.
I don't want your second or thirds, just your first. Thanks.
Thematically, this is kind of another hot and cold thing for me. So
Katy Perry.
thematically, it goes into a dark place.
Yeah.
And it gets considerably darker than your standard Marvel fare.
Opening credits, just like screaming girls, little girls.
What do you mean, like selling children into spy slavery?
Spy slavery.
Super light-hearted.
And what was the music that they used? It was the...
Oh, no, it smells
was,
like Teen Spirit.
Yeah,
Teen Spirit,
right.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
Which was perfect. You listen to those lyrics, that was perfect. And what I loved about, I think that was one of the best kind of cold open credit sequences from a Marvel movie because it was so James Bond.
I was going to say
like,
that
this
too.
This is so great because if you're familiar with the Bond films, they always have the music video at the beginning, which kind of wraps in, kind of gives you a little foreshadowing of what the movie's about.
Let the sky fall.
And this was chilling, set over the screams of
young girls. Yeah, woof.
Yeah, when you involve, I don't know what this says about me, but like in particular, when you involve little girls in that way, I just see red. Like,
well, yeah, because in our minds, like with children, there's nothing more like innocent and sweet about them. So to have them not even just like hinting at what they like are putting them through, like they're just like straight up like showing us like, yeah, we shoved them into vans and then they lived in these scary bunkers where they were trained to be spy assassins as literal 6-year-olds.
Yeah, even like shipping containers, or I think at one point I was like, good Lord.
Oh, God.
Yeah, very spooky.
And it was a perfect setup in that montage sequence. You see how they're trained, and you also get a very chilling look at how the Red Room has basically been involved in all sorts of world events.
Yeah.
And you see Dreykov superimposed in pictures with Clinton and Condoleezza Rice and Jimmy Carter and
the Russian.
It's just really
president,
unsettling.
Yeah.
And this has basis in real life Cold War reality. Like spies were a
everywhere.
big deal. If you've seen the show The Americans on FX, that was a big influence for this. just the life they're living at the beginning in Ohio,
Yeah.
which was so well done.
Wasn't there there was a news story I think in the early 2000s where there was families of
Yeah.
spies
sure.
that were
Deep spies, deep cover.
that were on trial in America.
And they're here to this day.
Yeah.
I mean,
in fact, I am one. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And the
You
other
peel
way
off
around.
your
I mean,
face. You're
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz under there.
and it's the other
Surprise.
way around. We've got spies doing the same thing elsewhere. So it's just it's such a chilling plot point to begin with.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's grounded in some real reality.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the use of the song "American Pie,"
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
which is a complete loss of innocence song as well. It's like these were smart,
Yeah, they knew what they were
very
doing.
smart and calculated choices. And
Yeah, if it wasn't the writers that put those songs in, that whoever the music supervisor was on this, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was smart. American Pie has got a lot of really dark undertones that even the writer has never really I don't think he even completely knows what the song is about. But it's great in that way that it's such a broad you could just sort of really put whatever your mind wants to it.
Like Michael Scott. Bye bye, Miss Chair Model Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also worth noting, since we're talking about this opening sequence, young Natasha is played by Ever Anderson, who is the daughter of Mila Jovovich.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
freaking models.
And she looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah, great
And
casting.
she's so very talented. What was
And
so
gorgeous. She's gonna grow up to
so
be a
disturbing
Mhm.
kind of about this whole beginning section is when they escape to Cuba and they're being handed off to Dreykov. She pulls a gun and
Oh yeah, that went from 0 to 60 very fast. It's whoa, little girl.
and that just makes me so sad. She already knows how to use it. That's her
Yeah.
first instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows that they will, without a second
Yep.
thought, shoot her little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna take that little girl into slavery, basically. So sad. Very spooky.
And so, kind of getting back to my original point about how I was kind of hot and cold about the themes. I loved that they went there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they hadn't diffused it so much with as much humor as they used.
Oh,
And I wouldn't
interesting.
normally say that, but I'm thinking of a particular moment when
Are you talking about
Yelena
the Yelena moment?
when she's talking about what they do to them.
Oh yeah,
And we
right.
won't we don't need to go into explicit detail, but
Are you
just
talking about cutting out the
sterilizing
organs and
and-
things? Just
the sterilization. We'll call
Yeah.
it. And I get why they tried to diffuse it because it is heavy and
sure.
you are marketing this to a very large. You have to imagine that some kids are seeing this movie.
Well, but you bring up an interesting point because I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you remember because you were there. But in the theater, the mood when she was saying that was I don't remember anybody laughing.
Oh, see,
And
I thought people did.
I don't think
mean,
so.
I-
At least
I
I know
heard
I
people
didn't, and I if I did, it was uncomfortable, and I think that was maybe the point. And also, I think her.
Well, it's
it's
Florence
very
Pugh's.
seeming,
It's Florence Pugh's delivery too, because she's
Right.
she's so dry,
So
and
dry.
deadpan. So
but it's
when
also
she's saying all of those things, it's she's being absolutely serious. Because
Yeah,
he's,
sure.
he's such a moron. He
Right.
Genuinely is well, what's the big deal? I gave you the best possible childhood anyone could have had. What do you
Yeah.
Right, and her it has no commentary on her. The delivery is perfect.
Oh,
It
sure.
works perfectly. And yeah, I mean, I chuckled, and probably from the uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, but I feel like there was so much of that layered in that
Yeah.
it began to kind of
Diminish
distance
it.
us from it,
Sure.
as
Right.
opposed
It was
to
we
kind
wanna,
of letting us
we
be
wanna,
there with her.
we want to talk about the PTSD and talk
Yeah.
about the trauma, but we're gonna do it in a more comedic way because that will just be a little easier to digest for mass audiences.
I think that maybe I think I see where you're kind of going because it's we're looking at them like they've already dealt with their trauma and
Like,
they're
they're
like
fine.
well over
Haha.
it now. Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, we don't have our lady parts anymore. Like, but it's I've already dealt with that. It's a big So I think I get it. You'd rather them like actually still be,
Well-
feeling those feelings.
Well, and you don't want to go. It's such a fine line, and not something I could ever accomplish. So credit them for even getting close. But
Sure.
but
I mean,
You
you
don't-
could you could argue that is just her way of coping. Like she probably does feel those feelings, but
Well,
like like,
certainly.
it's one of those things like if I don't laugh, I'll cry kind of situation.
yeah,
like,
I
so
don't doubt
have
the
to do
character.
it that-
I don't doubt the character motivation. It's just more
Yeah.
a filmmaking preference here, where like
Totally
a lot of
understand.
Marvel movies are able to fit in the glib kind of witty lines.
Yeah,
and,
tongue in cheek a little bit.
And there were so many good ones in this one. They were on fire.
oh my
but,
god.
But I think I want what I wanted out of the Black Widow movie was
A little more
go
darkness.
go there,
Sure.
because we've broached the subject with her before in little fits and starts,
Mm-hmm.
when she's talking with Steve, when she's talking
Yeah.
with Bruce. But I wanted to, I don't know, I wish they had embraced it a little more.
I
hear
totally
that.
see what you mean. Totally see what you mean.
Because the comics that this is based on, and the Red Room, which is that origin for her is relatively new, but those are, I mean, it's disturbing, and
Sure.
yeah, I don't want to traumatize kids, but on the other hand, it just gives Natasha so much more. It makes her fall from the cliff on Vormir just so
That much more sad.
right and impactful and important, and
Like
Yeah.
she'll never have children, and she'll
but she got to do something for her family,
yeah for her chosen
Which is-
family. Yeah.
which Barton is her family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
Avengers are her family,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
she finally got to do something that because she's done a lot of bad.
Yeah.
And she has, and we'll explore that a little bit in this movie. But yeah, that's where I stand on like the big overall.
So that's your general.
Yeah, I mean,
general
I'm-
consensus of the film.
I'm glad they touched on what they touched on. I wish they went a little further.
Yeah.
And oh well,
Yeah.
Oh well.
oh well, I'm never watching that again. Stupid
I was actually okay with how much they touched on it. I think just because, like you said, just because there are people that bring kids to these, I think it was enough.
I mean, it's not even PG-13, right? Is it PG or is it PG-13?
Oh, it's
I guess?
PG-13.
It's
It
very
is, okay.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
This was a hard PG-13.
PG? No.
If they had said
Um,
fuck, this was going to be R almost.
Sure.
Oh yeah, because it was violent. I mean,
Yeah.
I think maybe just
Yeah.
because I haven't seen a movie on a big screen in a year and a half.
And we saw it in the IMAX, so she was big.
Yeah, there definitely was there was violence and
Oh, also that was very exciting.
quite
seeing-
serious subject matter.
Yeah, it was hella serious.
Well, and Kate Shortland in an interview recently talked about the violence. It wasn't just you. I mean, it was purposeful, and she said when we were choreographing these fights, which were beautifully choreographed, by the way,
Yeah. So exciting.
they wanted to make the audience hurt. Like you wanted to feel it when somebody got punched, and
You do.
I don't think we've seen in a Marvel film we saw broken
Lots of
bones.
broken legs and arms.
That got that those kinds of things. I mean, thank God we didn't see any bone through the skin shit, but
Or if you don't really ever see it
yeah.
in Marvel. You
you might
hear
hear a
you hear a
noise.
crunch, but
Sure.
you don't see the
Well, I mean,
mangled limb.
I'm
yeah.
thinking of Winter
Woof.
Soldier as the only other movie where I remember feeling the body blows.
Yep,
And,
yep.
particularly at the end when Steve and Bucky are fighting on the helicarrier, and Steve's getting shot in the back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then he breaks Bucky's left arm or right arm, and
Ugh. Yeah.
and this movie is kind of a kindred spirit of the Russo brothers.
Yeah, very
And
reminiscent.
Winter Soldier,
Mhm.
Civil War, again, because this is when it takes place, and they share similar story DNA. I'll touch on that in a little bit, but yeah, violent as all hell. And I'm thinking of one moment in particular when at the end when she's facing off with Dreykov and she severs the nerve in her head where the pheromones are.
God.
Slams
the pheromone
her face
manipulation
onto the
slams
desk.
her head on the desk.
Yeah,
I'm like,
hang
oh.
on while I slam my model face into this desk really quick.
Well, just
And then
the
she
beating
breaks
takes from him.
her nose back
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
that scene. I was like,
Just when she's egging him
there
on
goes
to
my
get him
modeling
angry.
career.
Yeah, just when she's egging him on to get him angry, and he just beats her senseless, and she's just taking it like a prize fighter.
honestly,
It's like, oh my god.
if I was that brave, I would do that every single time I went into a porta potty.
Sever
What?
the nerve in your face.
Yeah,
in
I
your
would just we should put a desk outside.
Or you could just
of a
plug
porta potty.
or you could just plug your nose.
No,
Or
no,
just
no,
hold
no.
your breath.
Just completely sever the nerve.
Jeez Louise.
Could you imagine just a line of people be just like, "Doosh," and then walking into a porta potty? All right, next. Doosh.
Oh, Daniel.
Oh
your,
my god.
Your mind.
Yeah, well, I think you've done it already. I think you've slammed your head against
Oh, yes.
one too many desks.
Several times, yes. Mm-hmm.
So yes,
I'm not even joking about that, by the way. I
I
actually
know you're not.
have.
It's
Yeah, I
complete
know.
sincerity.
I have the scars to prove it.
So yeah, a good bit of physical violence, the martial arts in this movie. I mean, all the women, all the Black Widows were
Oh.
like, whew.
I still don't really completely understand the physics behind her, like, swinging around a neck thing, with her legs, where she, like, oh my god. It's insane. And I love the double swing we got, like, from, we haven't even talked about the
what?
Taskmaster.
No, we haven't.
No, my god. But yeah, the like double version that she's like, I'm gonna do it to you, and he's like, just kidding. I mean, she's just, I'm all flustered. I can't speak right now, but yes,
Yes, just relax. It's all gonna be
Everything's
fine.
I'm so
Fine.
scared. I don't know.
She's gonna
This is
be
also
fine.
new.
She's actually not gonna be fine. She's gonna die. But
Yeah,
but
You're
But
right.
she's fine in this.
she's fine in this.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So the martial arts was on point. The set pieces, I mean it kind of read like a spy movie. The motorcycle chase
Yeah.
through Budapest was awesome.
Since we're talking action sequences here, do either of you have a favorite one from the film?
Favorite action series.
Like sequence?
The last sequence, the falling through the air, was absolutely
That was my favorite.
ridiculous.
It was
Yeah.
insane.
Just, I mean, like, if that was definitely where it felt like they threw the most money. Although I don't know,
Just with everything like flying around her.
Well, that's when they went full
like,
Marvel.
They
I mean, that was
did.
like, we're back.
Yeah, they're like, okay, if we're gonna put this on an IMAX screen, I mean, and how cool to see, like, the full IMAX screen. I mean, the people at home that watched on Disney Premiere wouldn't be able to see, like, at
No,
least.
don't sit home and watch it on that. What are you doing?
Don't
Go
do that.
to the theater.
Get your
You
vaccine
missed
and
like
go
a
see it in
quarter of
person.
what you could see.
God.
Very, very
Yeah,
cool.
I loved the falling through the air. I loved. I think they showed this in the trailer. It's right before the flying through the air moment, but she's falling and then she kind of like grips herself from completely falling off of this like chunk of the building.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I loved that moment.
Very neat.
I think my favorite was her fight with Taskmaster on the bridge. When
Oh, yeah.
when you first kind of get a real taste of what Taskmaster is about and the analysis of Natasha's fighting style and like
Yeah, that was
oh,
so
that's-
cool. It was so cool, and that scene
That
was
was
lit so cool. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
It was cool because that nobody had to tell us what Taskmaster's abilities were. Like you could just see, like, in the way that she was copying her moves. It was very. It was almost immediately obvious what was going on.
And that's another thing I wish they went a little further with. Yeah, we picked up on it, and I was already very familiar with Taskmaster.
See, now
but
I wasn't, so, and I don't really have any particular, like, like, oh my god, Taskmaster, yay!
I could have used a little more, and
Just
this
a
is
little more of
nitpicking.
Taskmaster in general.
Well, a little more of Taskmaster, but a little more variety in terms of the styles she steals from. I mean, we see
Sure.
she steals from Captain America with the shield.
We saw a
get a
little
little
bit
Black
of-
Panther nod
Yep.
with the
claw.
claws.
Yep.
Hawkeye with the bow.
Right.
Um,
And obviously Black Widow.
Yeah, just her fighting style.
Yeah.
I suppose I just
Even her
would've-
pose that
There was-
Elena
there-
mocked.
Did you mention Spider-Man? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Because there
mention
was a little bit
Spider-Man.
of that too. Like there was one part when she was like,
Oh yeah, on the
swinging.
bridge.
You remember
when
that?
she when Natasha tries to kind of zip line her out of there.
Yeah.
And she swings back through. It
It felt
like
very
Spidey.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
So yeah, I could have used maybe a little more Taskmaster, because she in the movie and he in the comics
Right.
is
A bigger
a
deal.
lot more prominent. So
Well, and it's okay. So I mean, why not talk about it now? I obviously, like I said, I don't have like a particular like heart, oh my heart, I'm so happy to see Taskmaster, because I honestly don't really know too much about Taskmaster, but the general murmurs that I'm hearing on the internet is that they were sad that she wasn't utilized as much as she is in the comics, and then it was kind of a waste, or that they didn't even they didn't even really need Taskmaster in the movie, and it was just kind of like something that was wedged in that was unnecessary. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I personally thought it was just enough. And also, I don't think that this is the last that we've seen of Taskmaster, to be honest. At the end of the movie, Natasha
She
sets
goes
her
off with the
free,
widows.
yeah, or at least sets her free of her,
mind control.
mind control. But I don't think that necessarily means that she's gonna be super stoked, because her sorry. I'm not saying that it wasn't enough, but she's just I'm sorry.
I blew your face
in
off
her
a
ears,
building.
and then just like that. I think that she's still gonna be well, and who knows? Maybe Taskmaster will be a good guy now or something. But I just don't think this is the last that we've seen.
And I think that's why some people had a problem with the reveal that it was Antonia Dreykov's daughter,
right?
which is not the case in the comic. I think it was for this movie. That's a great twist. That the Budapest event was
the creation of Taskmaster.
Was the creation of Taskmaster, and she and Clint Barton are responsible for that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. The cause and effect. I also I think that the other complaint, and maybe I kind of agree with this too, in hindsight, that I don't necessarily like her being sort of this mindless bot. It would have been because it would have been nice that had she been able to, of course, then you would kind of maybe mess up the reveal that she is a woman, I guess, or then she's also the daughter. I don't think it's really that exciting that she's a woman, although I I think it's great that she's a woman. I don't think that should have been the big reveal. Wait, she's not a man.
Well, I don't think that. I think it was Dreykov's
That it was
daughter.
Dreykov's daughter.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the female thing, but
yeah.
Also, for me, it was Olga Kurylenko, who's a Bond girl as well, which is another James Bond nod. And I was like, oh yeah.
There was a big misdirect, because I think that a lot of people were thinking it was going to be that friend of hers that was buying her the airplanes and shit.
Oh right.
They were thinking that was going to be Taskmaster. I was like, haha, fooled you again. But yeah, I guess it would have been nice, because it would have been nice to have. It would have made sense for Antonia to have been pissed off at Natasha, because she is the cause of her trauma, basically. Well, not all of her trauma, but at least her physical trauma. And they could have used that in some way, I think, in her motivations, but she apparently didn't have. Her motivation was literally just mind control. Which, and she never talked. She never even blinked, which was very spooky. So I don't know. I guess I liked it this way too, but I think I maybe would have liked her to have been not as mindless.
I hope this.
That's a very minor complaint, by the way.
I would hope this didn't dead end Taskmaster's use in the future.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I hope not, because Taskmaster being good doesn't really utilize the character's strengths in the comics, which is to completely copy all of the fighting styles of all of our favorite heroes. So
Right.
there is an out if they want to keep Antonia as like she goes forward as a widow with renewed purpose, and she kind of chills out a little bit. It looks like Taskmaster in a way was programmed. So like in a way that it's not depicted in the comics, where they kind of plug her into or plug in kind of analytics into her helmet, which
like no kung fu.
Which in the comics she just has a photograph. Yeah, he has a incredibly effective photographic memory and can look at something immediately and
mimic
analyze it. But this is more computer based. So I wonder if there's like a Taskmaster protocol and somebody else, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
very plausible.
That sounds like a very comic-y thing to do.
Yeah, right.
I'm totally down for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a
like
a big
it would
deal,
be
but...
yeah, but it would be absolutely something that would happen in a comic run. It'd be like, wait, the Taskmaster, we thought that it was Antonia and she's better now, and who's in there, like.
I mean, they seemingly introduced several really strong and great characters that really stand on their own 2 feet, like, don't even necessarily need the title of Black Widow to hold their own. So, we're going to see a lot of these people again, for sure, whether it be in new movies or Disney Plus, but yeah.
Well, and Kate Shortland talked about she wants to do a series for Red Guardian.
Oh,
and,
that'd
David Harbour.
be so great.
I was like, oh, yes.
Truly,
let's
honestly,
talk more about him.
I
the very first dad bod in MCU.
It's so good.
MCU history.
And a super soldier, a Russian-created super soldier, which has all sorts of implications.
Mm-hmm. I truly, I mean, like, from watching the trailers, I kind of had my arms crossed, going like, oh boy, he's gonna be annoying. But like, he was really fun. I loved his character.
He was excellent.
Yeah, he killed it. His accent was wonderful.
I love his obsession with Captain America, which makes no sense because Captain America's been frozen.
Right,
like,
so he's just a freaking liar, which is so great. Basically, just like, I would love to see boastful Loki and him in a room just because just lying to each other about how cool they are.
He's a fascinating character for sure.
Yeah.
I could have honestly had more of him in the movie and been happy with it. But,
oh, sure.
I thought his character arc, like, he was just written very well.
Yeah.
Like, from start to finish of the film, I was like, yep, I buy it, I believe it.
And just constantly thinking, well, maybe not thinking that he's in charge, but like, it kind of felt like it. But he was like never ever in charge. Like,
no.
It was very, very funny.
No.
I just like little subtle moments about like when he's like speaking into his earpiece that isn't there. He's like, yeah, you don't have. one.
Right.
He's just like, oh, wait, what?
What? Why?
and then they go out of their way to rewind it and show us them planning to not give him an earpiece.
Yeah,
Melina and Natasha are like, yeah, it's fine.
Too
He doesn't
good. Too good.
Yeah, I think there was such great acting in this, but I think my favorite acting in the whole, if I had to pick one scene, is the dinner table going into the room when Yelena is just like, this family was real to me because I was like at an age where I didn't really fully understand that we weren't a real family.
Yeah.
Right.
And how messed up is it that my best, my favorite memories are not real.
They're from fake. Yeah.
And she goes away, and when he says that he's going to go in there, it's like, everyone is like, oh God, no. He's such a moron.
Oh man.
And that little moment of him singing American Pie to her was just like so good. And because
it is like a real dad moment,
Yeah, because he can't find the right things to say to her, and it's very much so like a dad-daughter moment where she's like,
Totally.
Why are you telling me this story? I want to be alone. Get out of here. And
I mean, it becomes apparent that it was real to all of them, and they're denying
in their
that
different
fact.
ways.
Right.
Yeah.
It
Because
becomes
they're
apparent that they are parents.
they're professional killers, so they have to keep the stiff upper lip. But it clearly mattered to all of them, and as you said, in their own ways.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just
But
thought
you
that the acting in that scene was so.
Yeah.
Oh, just great.
So
From
great.
all the people, but yeah, specifically like Yelena, man. That's
Florence Pugh is
Florence Pugh.
just what a great.
Oh.
I mean, if this,
I'm
if this,
so
if
glad
that's,
we're gonna obviously have more of her.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily like the whole meaning for making this film, but I mean, like the passing of the torch was very like. Well, like she caught that torch and she held it so tight
She didn't
and
let
made
it
it
blow
burn
out.
brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just threw some lighter fluid on there.
She sure did. She sure did.
Well, and I mean, again, I wish this happened years ago, but the passing of the vest. She loves the
The
vest.
passing
with
of
all
the
pockets.
vest,
And she wears it
Aw.
in Infinity War. And
How fucking stupid!
Yeah.
Like seeing that in the script, like. I doubt that anybody would have thought that was going to be like a really funny moment, but like that was a truly memorable.
yes,
Like
Well, Florence Pugh is just so funny. Like,
Yeah,
naturally
she really is.
so funny. She's, I think, the only human being in the history of the world that could make people not hate Amy from Little Women. Really, if I'm being honest, because
Yeah.
Amy is the worst.
yeah, that's,
but you
that's,
love
that's
her
valid.
because it's Florence Pugh. She's just so endearing.
and
So
normally
good.
I don't give a darn about Little Women. No offense, everybody.
Also
but
same.
I
Offense
saw that
taken.
movie, and yeah, Florence Pugh is what I remember. She's
No, she's
Yeah.
the star of that
so-
movie. She's
she's
the star
so
of that
damn
movie.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is really great.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited that she's carrying the torch now. And,
Yeah.
and
And
the
now she-
MCU is better served.
So, a question. I mean, because forgive me for not being familiar with the comics in this sense, but like, is she now taking on the moniker of the Black Widow, or is
I mean, not at this moment, but she does.
she does? Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
So we're going
guess-
there. We're going there at some point.
yeah.
yeah, we're skipping around here, but yeah, since we're talking about
Skip to Maloo, my darling.
that moment, what she is right now, or what she became in the 5 years in between Infinity War and Endgame, and then in the months after Endgame, she's working for our girl Val.
Her
I mean, it just
entrance.
feels
I mean,
like-
you guys were with me, but I just
Yeah.
I died.
Yeah. Just the blowing of her nose. Oh, I'm allergic to the Midwest.
Me too, Val.
What a bitch. I love her so much. Oh man.
This feels like Thunderbolts.
It has
Oh,
to be. I mean,
if it
has
walks like a
to
duck
be.
and it talks like a duck, it's
And
gotta
Thunderbolt
be
Ross is in the movie
Thunderbolts.
again. This feels like the Thunderbolts.
It would be very strange if it wasn't.
And think about that group. Depending on what they do with them, because they're going to a lot of trouble to set them up.
Yeah.
That group of actors, Tim Roth, who is Abomination,
Oh my god.
one of the hysterically dark actors in
Hysterically
in England.
Uh-huh.
Florence Pugh,
Yep.
Wyatt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a combustible group.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Like how are they gonna work together? Like that
And-
just
and,
that
uh,
dynamic is
yeah,
gonna
and
be
Zemo.
so funny.
And Zemo,
yeah,
yeah,
Zemo
yeah.
as well. It's like, oh, this group is gonna be toxic. And-
Yeah. Like just yeah. It the implicate. I don't know if the implications, but it's just my imagination runs wild.
Yeah.
That is going to be a funny film or show or whatever we're gonna get out of it.
How do we feel about Dreykov?
Oh, I hate him.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awful.
Hate him so much.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that they hit the nail on the head. Like they went with as slimy and terrible as possible, and
Mhm.
yeah, it just felt so good to watch her like kick the crap out of him finally. I mean, she had to slam her face into a desk in order to do it, but like it was worth it. Woo!
And this was another Brit, Ray Winstone.
Yeah, and he's worked a ton. You might recognize him from The Departed,
Mm-hmm.
Cats. You know.
Wait, he was in the movie Cats? No. What
Yeah.
was he in that?
Growl Tiger?
Oh my God, he was Growl Tiger. See, I haven't. Okay, admittedly, I obviously, big Cats fan because I was in the show, but like I haven't had the heart to watch all the movie yet. I've gotten through like the first 15 minutes, and I'm just
It's
like,
really
I
fine
can't
that you
do it.
don't. It's
I
really
can't do
fine
it.
that you don't do it.
I can't do it. Oh man,
he
it's
was
rough.
he was in Hugo, which I really loved.
Oh,
It's kind
I
of
loved
like
that movie.
kid fantasy.
Oh, it's such a
Yeah,
beautiful film.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great villain. Ugh, I wanted to murder him the entire time.
He was real gross. I think that it's pretty safe to say that he's gone. That being said, Taskmaster also got blowed up and then wasn't gone. So I guess it's plausible that he could come back, which I hate, but and he'll be spookier than ever, maybe. But
I mean, I think he got very blown up, but
I mean, yeah, they did show the glasses like, blowing
blew
into
up.
the screen, but
But she
We
didn't
also
check for, she
saw
didn't check
Antonio
for his-
get blown up,
She didn't
too.
check for his body. So
yeah, again.
no. But again, this is a problem with doing this now as opposed to then. You could have maybe reworked it way back when to have Dreykov be somebody we see fairly recurring, because they take great pains in that opening sequence to show just how involved he's been in world affairs, and be cool to have seen that
Somehow,
develop
I just
in the
think that,
background.
somehow I feel like there's still a high probability that he'll be back.
I mean, I don't.
You
because,
don't?
Like, he was attached to Natasha's story in particular, and yes, he has. He's attached to Yelena's as well, but I don't know what the emotional value of bringing him
Having
back
him
would be. It's
around
like, oh,
again.
you're back. Now I have to relive my trauma again. And
No,
defeat
I
you
totally
once
agree
more.
with you in that sense, for sure. It's like, how do you find new motivation for him? Yeah.
And they've been talking about him since 2012. Your
Right.
Dreykov's daughter. So
Oh,
it
can we
would have been cool to have maybe seen him come in and out. But
Absolutely. I was going to say, can we talk about, too, that, I mean, this isn't necessarily a complaint. I'm just wondering what their motivation is for, like, really not showing us the mission, the Budapest mission, the Budapest mission that they keep talking about.
well, the Budapest mission was the mission that killed Dreykov's daughter. Quote unquote,
Yeah.
killed Dreykov's daughter.
But, I mean, like,
And-
was that it? I mean, like, I guess that, like, I figured that we were going to see more of it in this
Well,
film.
I mean, yeah, I thought maybe they'd show a little bit more, but she and Barton were holed up in that apartment for.
So
or,
maybe the Budapest
they were
mission
hiding
was just
for 10 days, holding off all of these agents and whatnot. I think that's.
Well, it's interesting
extent
too
of
is that, like, in her apartment, they're looking at the arrow holes in the wall.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was like her apartment. So it's like, I'm wondering if either they were attacked in the apartment or if his original mission was to take her down.
Well, no, well,
Barton's?
Yeah.
that was Barton's original mission, but that wasn't Budapest. Like Budapest was
wasn't.
them.
So it was-
that was them. That was basically her final initiation into
Into
Shield.
Shield.
Got it.
And I think
Yeah.
the arrow holes in the apartment were just indicating that they were living together there, and that he was using the wall as practice or something.
Okay,
like
sure.
Or maybe somebody did come in and try to
He had to
attack
take
them
care
or
of
But we know
business.
they spent 10 days basically huddled in a tiny room
Right.
hiding. I mean, that was Budapest for them.
Well, I can't imagine if somebody came. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking way too deep into this, but like if somebody knew that they were there, then they probably wouldn't still have it as like a, like, her hiding place, because it would be compromised because other people know where like that it exists,
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm probably thinking too hard. My
Um,
brain hurts from thinking too hard.
I thought the Red Room itself was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We expected to go down into a subterranean bunker, but they
We
put it
went
in
to
the sky.
Bespin.
Yeah.
interesting design.
Very interesting. Very. I mean, like it's no. There was no mistake of showing Moonraker in the film.
Oh yeah,
because there was
the entire plot of this movie is very Moonraker.
Yeah.
So that was a great touch. And thank you for giving meaning to maybe the worst James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Ever
Yeah.
made. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
yeah,
yes,
it was
Dreykov
very
is very
interesting.
Hugo Drax. That's very. That is very James Bond. What was I thinking about? Oh. Okay.
All right.
So there's a moment when I think was it Dreykov talking to? Well, Dreykov talks about it with Natasha a little bit, but so does Rachel Weisz. They talk about looking for the genetic potential in infants.
Uh-huh. Are we
Why did
talking
my
clones?
mind go to X-Men?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Black Widow is a mutant or
No.
but
Maybe they're trying to create
This
them.
is one of one of a few breadcrumbs that have been dropped in recent Marvel properties. They talk about genetic potential and.
Do you think that they're going to make a woman Wolverine?
Well, I wonder if this is just their very subtle way of introducing the idea that they know of people who are born differently and interpret that as you will. But,
Sure.
Genetic potential could just, I mean, they talked about it with John Walker too, that like his test scores before he even took the serum were like off the charts, his reflexes, so I wonder if
He's got such a huge penis, my God.
My God. Just their subtle way of prepping us for that eventuality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
could be.
Also,
It's coming.
interesting.
It's
also,
coming.
just an extra sad part of Natasha's backstory. This, she had assumed all of her life that she'd been abandoned by her birth mother, and turns out
She was fighting
not
to
so
find
much.
her the whole
She
time.
was trying to find her, and then they had her killed.
Ugh. So sad. And I think it's interesting that that I think he talked about like where she was buried or something, and then at the end of the movie we got to see where she was buried, Natasha.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, an interesting parallel going back to, because you mentioned, Daniel, how Barton's original mission was to kill her.
Yes.
I love that we're coming full circle and that Elena has been
Elena's
tasked with
gonna try to
him,
kill him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which is going to be the Hawkeye series.
Yep.
Yeah.
That seems pretty clear. So she'll be like the maybe not the like
conflicted villain.
Yeah. So maybe not like
One of
the
them.
antagonist, but but yeah. Like
Well, I suspect by the end, because they're introducing Kate Bishop, who takes over the mantle of Hawkeye.
Oh,
I wonder
sure,
if
right.
by the end of Hawkeye we get an understanding of.
Hey, you're not so
Oh,
bad.
you're far more Avenger than whatever the hell you are.
Thunderbolty. Thunderboltish.
So yeah, that'll be a fun
Now,
storyline to pick up.
help me out here because I mean, I've only seen the movie once now, and my memory's terrible. In the last scene, the post-credit scene, was that their first meeting?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
No,
No, 'cause she said, Val, do not bother me when I'm
She
on
did.
vacation.
She was the one that said the name first. Okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm that I remembered that right. Okay, cool. So this isn't her. And yeah, right. She said this is your next target. So like she's already been doing some
and
things.
she took great pleasure in hand delivering it, and then she dropped some comment
On an
about
iPad Mini, by the way. Which
But
I
she
thought
dropped
was so
some
funny.
comment about being underpaid, and then Val says, "Yeah, me too."
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
we
on
know
the
Val
same
is answering to
iPad, she
somebody.
probably watches Netflix on. She's
Yeah.
like, here's
she
her
watches
next
HBO's Veep.
Ah. Here's your next mission.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Other implications too, like how did Val find out about
Yes.
his involvement on Vormir, and I mean, I'm sure obviously when he came home, he told like all the Avengers what had happened. So I mean, he's obviously not the only person to know now, and I'm sure information got leaked somehow to her, but
Right.
But yeah, it is interesting. But I mean,
Well, yeah,
she should know. She should know that it wasn't his fault.
Right. So whether this is an intentional distortion or a game of telephone, where
yes, that is what is.
There is a misunderstanding that they run with,
or not. Maybe an intentional misunderstanding. Yeah.
But we do know. Well, let's maybe assume that Thunderbolt Ross is kind of the guy here, and if he's not, then this theory is irrelevant. But he's had it out for Natasha and the fugitive Avengers. I mean, since when this movie took place, 2016. They broke the Sokovia Accords. They're fugitives. They're dangerous in his mind. So,
well, maybe
even if he knew the truth, it would behoove him to twist it to bring these people in.
It helped me out because I'm not familiar with the Thunderbolt comics either. But was the goal of the Thunderbolts to more or less replace the Avengers, or to?
I'm reading it right now. Actually.
Oh, you are.
It depends on the run, but
sure.
Yeah,
or was it sort of like to supplement them?
I'm reading the OG, like the start of the Thunderbolts right
Gotcha.
now. And
which was
they actually
was the 80s
point
or something?
blank. Yes, maybe late 80s.
Okay, sure.
89, 90, so early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they kind of make a point to say like we are not the new Avengers. Like there's like an interview moment where they're like, why not just call yourselves the new Avengers or just the Avengers? And they were like, because we're not Avengers. We don't answer to anyone, and we
just get the job done.
We're people who, really care about the good of the world, so we're like volunteering to do this. They're not
right.
They don't do it for someone or for the glory of doing so.
And now in the new run, in the newer run, which I'm reading, where Zemo is the head of the team, and they are, it's kind of a Suicide Squad situation.
Got it.
But less Suicide Squad and more, you can redeem yourselves if you go on the government payroll and basically fill a void where the Avengers are, and in some cases, it feels kind of like comics I'm reading, Zemo basically offers an olive branch to Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, and he's really underhanded about it. But so that it's going to be an amalgamation, I imagine.
Yeah, they'll do their nice little combiney thing.
That makes sense, but in either instance, they're not trying to take over, it's not like they're searching out all the Avengers, and they're just taking them out so that they can sort of be the new kids in town.
Is that how it is in the run you're reading?
Well, I'm not done yet,
okay.
but Zemo is clearly doing something else. There's
something askew.
Like they've done a lot of good, but it's a front for
something nefarious.
Ultimately doing something real bad.
Got it.
Little stinker.
That is curious. I just wonder what her angle is for getting rid of Barton. Or maybe it's not getting rid of him. I mean, he just said target, so I'm not necessarily like I want you to go assassinate this person. Maybe it's I want you to go recruit this person. She's trying to recruit
him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it was pretty. I felt like it was pretty explicit. Go shoot him in the head.
Did that feel like that? Yeah. I mean, I have to go watch it again.
When you say target, it's like you're knowing her skills. Yeah, I mean,
you would say like, here's our next recruit, or something. Yeah.
Or bounty, like bring him here alive or something.
And if it is Thunderbolt Ross, he wants them all arrested and or dead. He's probably dead at this point. Like, I'd just rather they be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy, at least at this point in the story, because this is post Endgame, he's a murderer. He's gone around and assassinated who knows how many people with his S words.
He killed a lot of people over 5 years.
Yeah. So he's now an enemy of the people. I mean, in I guess Val's eyes, and maybe the higher ups that know what he's been up to. So
Which,
yeah.
I just thought of this because it's a line that Yelena says when they're like grabbing supplies at that gas station. Where she's like, we both have done like some really terrible things, but I don't like, just pretend I'm a hero and give little girls my autograph. She was throwing a lot of shade at Natasha. And so I wonder how this sort of transformation is going to be for her, kind of stepping into this new light. And yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I love how she mocks her, and she's like, what about that god from space? He doesn't need an ibuprofen every time he fights.
Too good.
Yeah, that was one of the funnier lines for sure.
Oh, that's great.
And they're like, where are the Avengers? And like,
I want to say that was probably the first.
where are your Avengers friends?
That was probably the first line in the film that like got like the whole audience like at the same time. I remember.
And more in line with your point, Alyssa, that the running gag about posing. It's like, you're a
so
poser.
funny.
What are these poses? You're just so.
And then
You're
she
a poser.
tries
You're a
it
poser.
out. She tries it out later, and she's like,
Ugh,
the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I hate that.
disgusting.
Very,
So
very
good.
funny. Really quick, going back to Val's entrance at the end, we, knowing that this movie was supposed to be the first thing that we've seen before the Disney Plus shows that we saw, and I kind of briefly talked about this just after we finished watching the movie, but I'm curious, like, because our new entrance or new introduction to her was in Falcon, right? Yes. And in her entrance, she was a lot more forthcoming with information, like, this is my name, this is what I'm up to, but like in the post-credit scene for Black Widow, it was a lot more vague, and we only got her like the name Val, which is a very broad and would have had people guessing a lot more. So it's interesting because I wonder whether or not they came in and refilmed at least that last chunk just because they knew that was not going to be her first entrance anymore, or if it was always supposed to be that vague. Because if that's the case, I'm actually glad that we got her entrance in Falcon and Winter Soldier, because it was a lot more direct and like.
I mean, I think it was supposed to be that vague because this movie was in the can. I mean, like it was done and they didn't touch it during COVID, so I think it was supposed to leave questions.
Yeah. Who is that? Who is she working
what the
for?
Hell?
What does she
Why?
do?
Yeah.
And then when you have her, I mean, if you think about it in the order that it should have been released, when she shows up in Falcon and Winter Soldier and is talking to John Walker, it's like,
that's
okay,
what's going
here's where we're
on.
going. We've got Yelena. We've got, U.S. agent now. Like, okay, here we go. Like,
right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. But they're very interesting.
I also like that Natasha gets a friend in Mason who proves to be kind of her arms dealer. He's like the Q if we're going down the James Bond route. He's the quartermaster. And
you got a friend in me.
Played by O.T. Fogbenley. And he's from Handmaid's Tale. He's very good in Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I still haven't watched that. I can't get the. I just don't have the balls to watch it.
Will,
well, I'm not going to finish it, but he's good.
Mm-mm.
But it's nice to, and it's just kind of funny because you get the sense their relationship is almost entirely platonic, but he has a few barbs about how he probably wishes it was more, or he's used to hearing you're a great friend sort of thing.
I know.
Yeah, he
poor
has that
guy.
line like the thing that every man loves to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, we've all been there, buddy.
Friend zone. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know she's not alone
He's
when
the nice guy.
When she's out kind of on her own. She's not really alone, and it's nice that she has
You are not alone.
a friend. Also, he inspires, I believe I don't remember if they say it or not, but he inspires kind of her to change up her look a bit after that whole incident.
Oh, uh-huh.
But it's also, now that we've seen it, it's a really nice nod to Yelena.
Yeah.
Like
because that was like her.
That's another little thing you'll carry with you next time you watch Infinity War. It's like, oh, that's Yelena.
Yeah, the little blonde hair.
Sweet.
And actually, I think that there was a lot of really cute, like, because I think that when she went into that, if I remember right, at least I think I remember seeing the hair dye there, like earlier on in the film, like way before she.
Yeah, she bought like a couple of different colors of hair dye.
Mm-hmm.
At the store.
Yeah.
Which.
And also nice to know that that was like basically her thing, like ever since she was like a little kid, like just always changing her hair color. Yeah. I like the blue look. That's cute.
Very blue is the warmest color.
Mm,
Very. Very
mm-hmm.
lesbianic.
Lesbianic, though.
What else? What are other thoughts, feelings?
What other thoughts and feelings do I have about this film? I guess, where do we see the other fun characters in the, like, do you guys suspect that they'll just pop up in another, another film of the, like, of their own, or do you think it'll be like in a Yelena special?
Well,
or
Kate Shortland, and a lot of directors say this, but she said she'd be interested in a Black Widow sequel of sorts around Yelena.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
These characters are going to get used again, without a doubt.
Yeah. Undoubtedly, there's more story to tell there. Yeah.
I would imagine it would come in some kind of sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye would probably be too bloated, and it wouldn't make necessarily a ton of sense for them to show up.
Yeah. Probably not.
Because that's his story, not Yelena's. But yeah, I mean, they'll pop up, and we will be better off when they do.
I think you're right. I'm excited to see whatever it is.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to. I know we harped on it being a little too late, but it was nice to go back a little bit, to go forward. It feels like just another nod to the old guard kind of moving on, and I think She-Hulk is going to do the same thing for Bruce Banner.
Oh yeah, big time.
And Thor: Love and Thunder might very well do that for Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's kind of sad we're getting to the end with our original crew, but they're passing it off to very capable hands.
Oh, no doubt.
It'll be cool. I'm so interested to see, like, because there's so many, with characters that they're introducing now. I'm like, are we gonna get like a West Coast Avengers movie, like, or TV series? Like,
give it to me. Why not?
So many of the characters, like, we've got that are, Scarlet Witch and White Vision and She-Hulk and
still big
Ant-Man and the
open
Wasp.
questions.
Like, they're all in the West Coast Avengers. So I'm like, could we possibly be going there? That'd be fun.
With all this multiverse stuff, we're gonna see alternate versions of characters we've seen before, and not as we expect them.
Anything's possible.
Oh, and U.S. Agent is a West Coast Avenger for a
it's gonna get weird up in here.
Yeah.
Right. And
I'm for it.
It's gonna get
Tigra.
really
Ooh, can we get a live action Tigra up in here?
Sure.
I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Oh my God, the lesbians would be so pleased.
I'll be thrilled. She-Hulk and Tigra. Oh
my God.
My God. Just too much.
Oh man. But guys, God, there's just so much to be excited about. So I mean, tomorrow we're getting the
Loki.
Well, and actually that's a good segue, because just to wrap up Black Widow, it was a great reminder that Marvel can inhabit so many different styles and tones at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And this was a very earthbound movie. Yes, it has some kind of fantastical elements because it's Marvel, but very based on Earth, very grounded, both literally and metaphorically. And then we have Loki going on the other end,
an existential
where we're dealing
adventure.
we're dealing with the very nature of time and space.
And you actually bring a great point, because that there is a very specific reason now that I understand now, seeing like at least some of or most of Loki, that Black Widow, like, just I think post Loki maybe doesn't fit. You know, just that because like I think we'll still get very much that style of film, but like Loki is now going to be potentially like opening up the multiverse, so Black Widow may have not had the same weight knowing about the multiverse and like what that is, and you know.
Well, I would agree with you, but I think again, I think the issue with Black Widow is that just from a story standpoint, it's too late. But when I put Falcon Winter Soldier up against Loki, I don't have that problem.
I understand that. Yeah.
Personally, I'm speaking personally. Maybe, maybe
I
you feel
totally hear
differently.
you.
But like Falcon Winter Soldier, very grounded story, very much in the Black Widow vein.
Sure.
But it's timely, and it's where we are. It's where it's the natural progression. But Black Widow, you just couldn't help but feel like, oh man, I wish this was back in 2016, so we could have marinated on it for this long, because that movie would go down as one of the better individual events.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But that's what I mean. Like I think Loki being able to coexist with something that's a lot more realistic. And then the idea that all of it at some point, be it 5 years, be it 10 years from now, all of it's going to come crashing back together like it did in Endgame, and probably in a much more mind-blowing, disturbing way, considering alternate versions of people and the stakes.
And I think that's we definitely have talked about this like a good 3 or 4 times within like Star Wars, you know, that there's a flavor of Star Wars for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Marvel. If you like the super, you know, weird, heady, out of this world stuff, like you're going to be more drawn to the Loki and the Doctor Strange WandaVision storylines. If you like more of like the, you know, kind of quote unquote traditional
cross sploosh cry,
like, you know, spy movies, like you're gonna want, you know, the Black Widow and Falcon Winter Soldier, like
and that's okay.
It is. There's a flavor for everybody, and I cannot wait to see all of them come beautifully crashing together.
Oh baby, and like mark my words, and I can't wait until it doesn't happen and you guys can make fun of me, but I think that after Tuesday we're gonna get our first trailer for Spider-Man. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's imminent. It's coming in the next couple weeks.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think there's some stuff
they've been hinting at it for a while.
That they can't. It would be too revealy if they did it before.
Although
Loki
I don't
was
think we've said it before. I don't think the Spider-Man trailer is going to show us a whole lot.
Probably not.
It's going to be more like a feel. This is what the movie feels like.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to flat out lie to us.
Maybe.
Which they've done before.
Could be.
Yeah, that's true.
Could
like,
be.
yeah, the trailer like exists in another part of the multiverse, so it's not the actual film.
Oh my
god.
god.
Or just the way
imagine?
scenes are arranged and voiceovers. It's gonna be intentionally deceiving about what's going on.
I can see
they've
that.
done that. They did that with Infinity
That'd be
War.
so rude.
They literally re-edited. They edited people out of shots.
Sure. Those little stinkers.
Oh, stinkers. Protecting the brand.
Winkers.
Oh man. Well, yeah. That was it.
That's Black Widow.
That's Black
That was
Widow.
Black Widow.
I think I'm gonna go see it again
I do want to see it again
in a
too.
theater.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's do it again.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, Disney needs more money.
they don't have any.
No, poor
they're
guys.
just really
poor guys.
struggling right now.
Guys, send donations.
Thoughts
We'll
and
put a
prayers.
link to their
and
GoFundMe
prayers.
in our profile. Yeah, so we've got lots of exciting things coming up. Loki season finale, which we're getting together to watch,
Hold on to your butts.
and that's going to be a thrill. And
Yeah, blood pact. Nobody watches it tomorrow night.
Yeah, that means you, Daniel.
Blood
All right,
pact, Daniel.
fine.
Daniel Elizabeth Dawson.
I will know. I will know if you did.
Yeah, I know you. I know you know. I know you'll know.
I know you know.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
I will be watching your face for genuine reactions.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for joining us on our very scattered talking about the Black Widow movie. It was kind of all over the place, but we hope you had a great time. We sure did.
I certainly did.
This is Inside the Tauntaun, a Star Wars podcast. It is, but kind of not half of the time
right
anymore. We might need to rebrand. Anyways, I'm Melissa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
May the Force be with you.
Always.
This party's over.